Hey guys, it's Sandra from Inspired Keys, and in today's video I am going to teach on how to play in sync with the drummer when you are playing worship keys, and particularly when you're playing the piano. But before I get into the teaching, I'd like to encourage you to hit the subscribe button so that you can see more of videos like this where I teach about worship keys playing techniques, and also hit that bell button next to the subscribe button, which is the notifications bell, so that whenever I post a new video or when I come on live, you will also be notified. The handout to today's teaching, as well as the specific view video where you get to see exactly what notes I play and even the chords that I play notated onto the treble and bass clef, all of that material is available inside the Inspired Keys Academy. So if you'd like to find out more about how to sign up, be sure to head over to inspiredkeys.com/join. And let's get started. When you play on the piano, sometimes in a band, you feel like you're just not jiving with the band. A lot of times it's because we are not really listening to the drummer. So what you want to do is to, when you're playing on the keyboard or on the piano, in a worship band context, you've really got to listen to what everyone else is doing. And the loudest instrument of all, by nature of the instrument, is the drums. And a lot of times what we play and how we play is dictated by what kind of drum groove is going on. And when you can play in sync with the drummer, it really makes the whole entire song sound cohesive and just sounds very united, and it just sounds great listening. And the whole purpose of us trying to get better at our skills and become better musicians and better worship teams is so that we can create a more worshipful atmosphere that helps people to meet with God in a church or a spiritual setting. So it's very important for us to try to get even better and more excellent in the way we make our music. And if you play by yourself all the time, you may not find this video relevant, but if you play in a band with a drummer, then you will want to pay attention. There are specific things we do when different kinds of drums play. So let's get started. When you play on the keyboard or the piano by yourself, you're creating a lot of the instruments parts on the piano. So whether it's the melody line or the bass line or the chords, like comping chords. So the piano really does a lot because of the range that it offers and the fact that we have 10 fingers to play around with. So whatever I share with today comes more into context where the piano does a lot. Whereas if you're playing in a band and there's an electric guitarist and a bassist, then there's a lot of layers that you don't need to play. So in today's context, when I share that you're playing in sync with the drummer and knowing what to play in relation to the drums, it's more relevant for pianists who play by themselves instead of playing in a full band with all these other instruments. Maybe by themselves with a drummer, or maybe by themselves altogether, no drummer. And you can even use it in a full band, but maybe you will have to tone down and not play so many layers and steal other people's jobs, because we don't want to steal other people's jobs, right? Like if there's a bassist, don't play the bass line, guys. Let them do their job. So I don't know if you already realize this, but pianos are actually percussive by nature. And the reason is because the mechanism of a piano sound is made when a hammer hits a string. So every time you hit a piano key, it's actually a thud sound. And that actually creates a very percussive feel, which is also why pianos are fantastic instruments for fast songs where you get people jumping and standing and clapping. The reason it can achieve this is from the percussive effects. So when we use it correctly together with the percussion layer of a song, it's very powerful. And sometimes you play things like a synth or a keyboard where you have pad sounds and e-pianos. It really depends on the kind of sound that you make. If you play a lot of warm pads, then maybe this is completely irrelevant because you can't really create percussive sounds. So this is more for sounds that are more percussive, like pianos, e-pianos, and maybe a couple of synth sounds. So here we go. The general principle is whenever you hear the bass drum and sometimes also the toms, you want to punctuate that with your left hand notes, like a bass clef, like a bass note with your left hand. Sometimes you just play a single layer, and sometimes you play an octave apart to create more oomph so that there is some space for contrast. Whenever you hear like the bass drum and the bass guitar, if you ever observe them in a rehearsal, you will realize that the bass guitarist and the drummer, they really have to watch each other closely. Most of the time it would be the bass guitarist just really watching out for when the drummer kicks the kick drum or the bass drum, because that's when both of them will have to jive together. So in the same way that the bassist and the drummer on the bass drum have to sync so much together, you also want to sync with them and make sure that your bass lines are punctuated when the kick drum or the bass drum is being played. And the snare drum, when you hear the snare drum, what I will typically do is to punctuate it with a chord, like a full chord, but usually with my right hand. So in short, if you hear a groove that goes like kick, snare, kick, snare, kick meaning bass drum, so doom, ta, right? What you can do is bass notes, chord, bass, chord. So maybe in a simplified way, something like that. So that's just an example of how I would play a very simple groove. But now I'm going to go on with 4 examples of specific songs and how we can use these songs as an example to how we play it on the piano. So the first one is What a Beautiful Name, and I'm going straight to the second chorus into the bridge. So what we gotta do now is to listen carefully to the drum layer and try to play it in line with the way that the drums are playing. So here we have 1 minute 30 seconds. So there are a lot of bass and toms going on. Doom, 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 doom. So you might feel very silly having to vocalize the drum grooves, but it's actually really key and important to hear that and be able to almost memorize it and reproduce it on the piano. So if I were to give that a try, so that's in the key of D, so I would probably play it like, if I were to play that, I would play it like this. So if I were to play that, I'll play it like this. Because it's really percussive and I want to imitate the way that sounds. So at this point of the music, because the drums have completely pulled out, I also pulled out on my percussive groove, and we're mostly just playing really still parts over here. I'm gonna go on to the second example, which is Love Goes On from Hillsong Young and Free, and we're just listening to the intro. Okay, so what I really want us be able to do as worship keyboardists is to listen to the way the drums are sounding. So you've got doom 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 tap, doom doom tap, doom doom tap, doom doom tap. So because of the way that is being played, I will probably play. Okay, so that's at the key of E. So I'll play. Right hand jabs at every time the snare plays, like, right? So okay, so my right hand kind of jabs together with the snare. The third example will be Pieces from Bethel Worship, and we're going to go straight into the third chorus. All right, so this is a really dramatic kind of a chorus, but there's a lot of crash going on, and you don't want to hear the crash because even though you could jab that with your right hand, but you do want to pay attention to particularly the bass and the snare. So what I'm hearing is a really, really spread out kind of a groove that goes doom, 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 tom, 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 doom, snare, doom, doom, snare, right? So it's kind of like a really spread out. So I would probably add to the drama by punctuating with all of the crashes. Play it in line with the drummer. The way the drummer is playing, I will try to imitate it with it, okay? Now I'm going to go on with the last song, which is Yes and Amen by House Fires, and it's a very typical kind of a groove. Chorus 2 is where we go. So it's doom, tap, doom, tap, doom, tap, doom, tap. Okay, so because I'm hearing that, I'll probably play da da. Okay, D major. Doom, tap, doom, tap, doom, tap, doom, tap, doom, tap, doom, tap. So basically we're trying to imitate the way the drums sound. I really hope that this was helpful to you. Give it a try if you've never tried playing your keyboard or piano line that imitates the way the drummers play. But I really believe that if you give it a shot, and especially if you start by vocalizing the drum sounds, you will revolutionize your playing, and you will begin to hear that, hey, the way you play the music jives with the rest of the band or with the recording that you're jamming to. And I really hope it was helpful. Remember that the handout and the specific view video where you get to see exactly what notes and chords, notated chords are played, all of that is inside the Inspired Keys Academy. And to sign up, you just need to head to inspiredkeys.com/join. And I will see you in the next video. See you, bye.